ever heard someone say, wait a minute, I thought nonprofits couldn't make money. They're nonprofits. It's a common misconception, but this couldn't be farther from the truth. Not only that, but the funding source that makes up a majority of nonprofit revenue is one you probably wouldn't expect. You won't want to miss what that is. So stick around and let's talk about how nonprofits are funded in this second episode of our Changemaker Cafe Fundraising 101 series. You can download our series action guide for resources and tips on fundraising basics at changemakercafe.com. And of course, thank you to Click and Pledge for sponsoring this series. Ready? Let's get curious. Warning, watching Changemaker Cafe may lead to side effects such as caring a lot, an insatiable desire to help others, growing your skills to change the world, or becoming a leader in your community. For best results, use an open mind and share with all your friends. Have you ever visited a museum or a theater, or used a YMCA fitness center or pool, enjoyed a walk in a nature preserve, or donated or purchased items from a thrift store, participated in a youth sports league, gotten vegetables from a farmer's market, or gotten help for your business at a business incubator? If you answered yes, congratulations, your life was most likely touched in some way, big or small, by a nonprofit in your community. And that nonprofit was, through a variety of means, making money. Money without which they wouldn't have been able to rent those theater or fitness facilities, maintain those nature preserves, or manage those youth sports leagues. Unfortunately, the myth that nonprofits can't make money has hurt organizations for decades. How? By creating an expectation that nonprofits should be able to accomplish huge impacts on shoestring budgets. To put things in perspective, 88% of nonprofits in the United States operate on budgets of less than $500,000 per year. Now, if that sounds like a lot, think about this. That's the equivalent of trying to combat homelessness for the same amount it costs to buy a single median-priced home in some cities. So to put rumors to rest, yes, nonprofits can, do, and must make money. They can even make a profit, which just means they raised more in funding one year than they had to spend on expenses. But that doesn't mean nonprofits are the same as for-profit businesses. There's a key difference. In a for-profit business, profits are distributed to private individuals like owners or shareholders. But in a nonprofit, all profits must be reinvested back into the organization's operations to work towards their community-serving purpose. So what are the main ways that nonprofits can make money? In general, there are 5 main sources for nonprofit funding. The first and most commonly understood one is individual donations. That's when people in the community who feel a connection to the cause gift their money to nonprofits in the form of donations. These donations are typically tax deductible, a way for the IRS to incentivize people to support these causes. Under the umbrella of individual donations, you might see one of 3 giving models. One is one-time donations, which are often tied to a specific fundraising campaign or urgent need. 2 is recurring donations. These might be monthly donations that people commit to, which provide reliable funding to the causes they care about. And then, of course, you have 3 major gifts, which are large donations, often given by high net worth donors that could be in the thousands or even millions. Individual contributions typically make up between 70 and 75% of charitable contributions, according to Giving USA. Another source of nonprofit funding is corporate giving. Corporate giving encompasses a few different things, including corporate foundation grants, which we'll touch on later, corporate donations, gifts that may be made outside of the structure of a foundation, employee giving, which may be when a company invites employees to donate through a giving program, or corporate sponsorships. Not all of these giving formats are the same. Corporate sponsorships, for example, usually involve some kind of exchange of value, meaning the company is getting something out of the giving too, like brand visibility or marketing opportunities or special access to an event. Next, we have government grants or contracts. Some nonprofits receive support from local, state, or federal government sources. Government funding typically comes in the form of grants or contracts, both of which require the nonprofit to perform agreed-upon services or reach specific outcomes. But these grants aren't usually accessible to every nonprofit. Generally speaking, government agencies will only offer grants to nonprofits when a nonprofit's goals and mission align with that government agency's existing priorities. Organizations often have to demonstrate a strong track record of success, be in compliance with rigorous policies, and have enough infrastructure and staffing to complete regular evaluation reports. Fourth up, we've got foundation grants. While government agencies can distribute grants, we're talking about something a little bit different here. Foundations are organizations that distribute funding to nonprofits in the form of grants, and they can be led and operated by private individuals, families, or even corporations. Sometimes they also pool donations from various people and entities in their community and distribute grants through what's called a community foundation. Every foundation has its own criteria that decides what nonprofits are eligible to apply for their grants. One foundation may decide they only want to provide grants to nonprofits who serve youth between the ages of 5 and 12. Another may decide that their criteria is exclusively nonprofits that exist in the headquarters of their county. Many people believe that grants are a top way nonprofits receive funding. But in reality, funds from private foundations only make up about 16% of total charitable contributions averaged across nonprofits in the USA. And to get a grant, a nonprofit will normally have to complete a grant proposal or application and submit information about their goals, their budget, their leadership, and their track record of success or evidence that their programs are likely to be effective. We'll cover more about grants in a future Changemaker Cafe series. Okay, so we did individual donations, corporate giving, government contracts and grants, foundations. There's one we're missing, and it's a big one, folks. The fifth source of nonprofit funding is one of the least understood. But before we do our big reveal, I want to thank the sponsor making this series possible, Click and Pledge. Click and Pledge is a comprehensive fundraising platform for nonprofits ready to raise money and grow their impacts. Their robust fundraising features include donation forms, in-person fundraising features, so when you're at an event, you can collect donations, text to give, peer-to-peer fundraising that allows supporters to form teams and go out and raise money in their networks for your cause, video fundraising with donation links embedded directly in your videos, donor outreach tools to improve donor retention, a complete Salesforce integration, and so much more that I don't even have time to go through in this video. Here's the thing though, some platforms charge more based on your organization's size or the size of your donor base. Not Click and Pledge. The pricing stays the same even as your donor list increases. And there are no contracts, and all of their solutions are included at no extra cost. Learn more about Click and Pledge's fundraising solutions, and you can get your first month free using the links below this video. You can get in contact with their team to ask any questions or schedule a demo, or if you're ready, sign up and try it right now. All the links for that are going to be below this video. All right, are you ready? The fifth fundraising source makes up a majority of nonprofit funding, according to a 2021 report by the Urban Institute. If you found yourself wondering, do nonprofits really have to rely exclusively on donations to generate revenue? And the answer, my friends, is no. Why not? 2 words: earned income. which is defined as revenue generated from the sale of goods, services rendered, or work performed. Just like a business, nonprofits can sell goods or services. Examples of nonprofit earned income might include program fees, like when a nonprofit charges a fee to host a workshop or provide a service, membership fees, merchandise sales, or licensing and royalties. But there's a twist. Unlike a business, nonprofits have to be careful to only use earned income methods that directly connect to their community serving purpose. For example, if an animal rescue sold t-shirts in a shop, the act of selling t-shirts does not connect to their purpose. But now, let's say that same animal rescue sold pet supplies in their shop instead of t-shirts. That would directly connect to their community serving purpose, which is sending adopted pets home with everything they need to be successful. Why do nonprofits have to follow all these rules? Well, in short, because the IRS doesn't want nonprofits to be able to compete unfairly with for-profit businesses. And if they do, the IRS could decide that the revenue from their earned income qualifies as what's called unrelated business income, resulting in potential fines or other penalties like the removal of a nonprofit's tax-exempt status. We will cover more about earned income in depth in a future series, and you can also check out some of the past videos on this channel for earned income tutorials and examples. Now, there are other methods too that often make up a smaller portion of a nonprofit's funding portfolio. For example, did you know nonprofits can earn investment income? Having all of these options for funding for nonprofits is important because, as we know, the state of the economy can have a big impact on an organization's ability to fundraise, just like it would for businesses. An economic downturn can cause a decline in individual donations or government budget cuts. And at the same time, a downturn could lead to an increased demand for nonprofits' services. Less money, more need. It's not a good situation to be in. That's why it's actually a good thing when a nonprofit makes a profit. Having a surplus one year means the organization could invest in an emergency fund for when times get tough, or even invest in critical infrastructure that could make their organization more resilient in the face of disaster. And the organizations without this safety net might not be around the next time a disaster strikes. Let's recap. There are a variety of ways nonprofits can and do make money, but it's also important to know which funding methods are the right fit for a nonprofit's unique mission, model, and skill sets. That's because fundraising is not one size fits all. What works for one organization might not work for another. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel because in an upcoming video in our Fundraising 101 series, we'll cover how to assess which funding strategies are the best fit for your unique situation. But that doesn't mean we can't do a little brainstorming before then. It's time for our Changemaker Challenge, where we reflect on what we're learning and brainstorm ideas. So I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Think about different sources and formats of nonprofit funding that we've talked about in this video. And I'm curious, which ones do you think could be the most helpful for the causes that you are working on or that you care about? Share your thoughts in the comments. In the next video in our Fundraising 101 series, we're going to wrestle with a big question. Could more money really end more social problems? We'll talk about how nonprofit and social impact funding is used to try to solve big problems and ponder what's preventing more change makers and organizations from getting the funding they need to accomplish big things like end hunger and homelessness and more. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a lesson in this series, and I'll see you for the next episode of Changemaker Cafe.